Hi, everybody. Welcome to Christian Homestead. My name is Jared. I just woke up a little while ago. I saw this picture on X from another account, and I was like, no, this is a fake picture. It's one of those things that circulate, and sometimes people make stuff up. But it's a picture of Nicolas Maduro, and he appears to be captured. But as I kept scrolling, and I came to the official White House account, no, it's real. Nicolas Maduro on board the USS Iwo Jima. So some big news just happened, and I did not expect this. I guess the way that I pictured it happening was that he was going to be assassinated, maybe bombed or something like that. But even that, I wasn't sure that even that was going to happen. This whole situation with Venezuela and Trump, we've seen him say things in the past that didn't end up materializing. For example, I remember, I think it's right after he came into office, he told Hamas that they had X amount of time to release all the hostages. It had to be by, let's say, Saturday at noon, Israel time. And then nothing happened. We also heard him talk about the United States taking over the Gaza Strip after the ceasefire, and we would be the ones that would administer the Gaza Strip. Of course, I guess that could still play out, but it doesn't seem like that's the plan anymore. And there's been other times. And so with Trump, and it's not like he can just do anything he wants. And he also has his, art of the deal and strategies and stuff like that. There may be times that he intentionally bluffs, but, this time, no, with this buildup of troops in the Caribbean, we had already seen a couple strikes by the military group. Most recently before this, there was a strike on land of some, I think, drug facility. But if something like this was going to happen, I would have thought that it would have been a while from now. But no, right at the very beginning, the United States has captured Nicolas Maduro. That's pretty dramatic. If this was the year 2003, 2004, I would have thought that this is a picture of Saddam Hussein. But no, it's 2026 and it's Nicolas Maduro. So I went ahead and I put it on my spreadsheet called Timeline Second Coming. It's my first event for the year 2026. It's a really big event. Usually I'm wondering what's the first big thing going to be of the new year. And typically I'm thinking in terms of natural disasters. So that's still yet to be seen. But this is pretty dramatic. January 3rd, 2026, the United States captures Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Okay, so there's some stuff to look at. This is the White House account. This is a post from President Trump. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference, and we're actually going to cover some of that news conference. Okay. Rapid Response 47. Quote, he was in a house that was more like a fortress than a house. It had steel doors. It had what they call a safety space where it's solid steel. He was trying to get into it, but he got bum rushed so fast that he didn't. We have this. Dan Kane. I should have looked up who that was. I'm guessing that's this general right here. Let's look it up really quick. Sorry, I wanted to prepare this really quick. Yeah, American general and venture capitalist. Okay. It says Dan Kane outlined the rapid timeline of U.S. strikes and the capture of Nicolas Maduro, saying that the operation lasted only a few hours. Maduro and his wife gave up and were taken into custody. As we approached Caracas, their air defense systems were instantly pummeled. We then arrived at Maduro's compound at 2 a.m. local time, and the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound. End quote. He said the operation involved F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, drones, and support aircraft. Quote, no loss of U.S. life. The force prepped for departure. Helicopters called in, fighter aircraft and remote aircraft provided coverage and suppressive fire. Wow. And then this, also posted by Ocean Defender, which is a credible account, reports sites confirmed to have been targeted tonight in Venezuela. You have the main military base in Caracas, the main air base in Caracas, the main signal antenna, main port of Venezuela, and then another air base in the state of Miranda. So it wasn't just the capture of Maduro and his wife, it was strikes on the... Now, I think like I said, I think the last strike, the land strike, the first one that happened, I think it was against some kind of drug production facility or something like that. As far as I know, these are the first strikes on military targets. So that's noteworthy. And it wasn't a few. Okay. Now what's really interesting to me, this is B&O News. Maduro's last public appearance was a meeting with China's special envoy just hours before he was captured by the US. Oh my gosh. And actually, I remember seeing that yesterday when I check X throughout the day, and I remember seeing that and having the thought, maybe China, they want to like show that they have Venezuela's back. They want to have a high profile meeting with everything that's going on. I actually had that thought, and I guess it didn't matter. Just a few hours later, he is on board the USS Iwo Jima. Okay, this is from Michael A. Horowitz. Hashtag Venezuelan Justice Minister Diosdado Cabello appears surrounded by police and military in Caracas. Quote, they carried out a treacherous, vile attack against the sleeping people. They cowardly attacked this people. Well, it's interesting that his name comes up. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And then according to Fox News, it says Maduro's presumed successor, Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, is possibly in Russia. Here she is right here. And you can actually see her right here as Maduro's meeting with this Chinese special envoy. So at least as of last night or yesterday, whenever this took place, well, yeah, it says hours before. So I guess this would have been last night. She was there with Maduro. So I don't know how long it takes to get from Venezuela to Russia, but maybe she's en route. I saw this from Faytux News. Breaking: the Maduro indictment has been released by the Southern District Court in New York. And there's some interesting stuff here. So it says United States of America versus, and then it has a list of people. It's not just Maduro. He is the first one on the list. But then after that is Diosdado Cabello Rondon. That's the guy that we were just quoting from right here in the aftermath of the attack and the capture of Maduro. So it would seem that he is not in custody because he's talking about what had just happened. So I wonder if the plans are to capture him. And then you have other people that I don't know who they are. Ramon Rodriguez Chanchin. So that is not the vice president. Her name is Delcy Rodriguez. And I don't see her name here as a defendant. Celia Adela Flores de Maduro. I think that is Maduro's wife. Yeah, down here it says First Lady of Venezuela, Celia Adela Flores de Maduro, the defendant, and Maduro Moro's son, member of Venezuela's National Assembly, Nicolas Ernesto Maduro Guerra, aka Nicolásito, aka the Prince. Let's just read this first part. Introduction. For over 25 years, leaders of Venezuela have abused their positions of public trust and corrupted once legitimate institutions to import tons of cocaine into the United States. Paragraph 2. Nicolas Maduro Moros, the defendant, is at the forefront of that corruption and has partnered with his co-conspirators to use his illegally obtained authority and the institutions he eroded to transport thousands of tons of cocaine to the United States. Since his early days in Venezuelan government, Maduro Moros has tarnished every public office he has held. As a member of Venezuela's National Assembly, Maduro Moros moved loads of cocaine under the protection of Venezuelan law enforcement. As Venezuela's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Maduro Moros provided Venezuelan diplomatic passports to drug traffickers and facilitated diplomatic cover for planes used by money launderers to repatriate drug proceeds from Mexico to Venezuela. And then it continues. I'll put a link for this in the description box below. But it talks about all the people. Let's read this one really quick. Diosdado Cabello Rondon. The defendant, a Venezuelan citizen, is the Minister of the Interior, Justice and Peace, a member of the Venezuelan Armed Forces, and the Vice President of the ruling United Socialist Party of Venezuela. Cabello Rondon is widely recognized as one of the most powerful officials in Venezuela. Cabello Rondon previously acted as Chief of Staff to Chavez in or about 2001, Vice President of Venezuela in or about 2002. Okay, and then it goes on and talks about him. Okay, so I guess it's yet to be seen if they're going to capture him. And then I don't know about these other people. It seems like they just have Nicolas Maduro and his wife in custody. I don't know about the rest. And it definitely doesn't seem that Diosdado Cabello is in custody. Okay, we got this. X alerts. Secretary Marco Rubio on the extraction of Maduro. Quote, I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around, and the result is what we saw tonight. We got Sprinter Press. Says, Trump says U.S. is going to run Venezuela. And then it should have quotation marks here, but this is a direct quote from Trump, what I'm about to read. We're going to run the country until such a time as we can have a safe, proper, and judicious transition. We don't want to be involved in having somebody else step in and end up with the same situation. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in and spend billions of dollars to fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. We're ready to stage a second and much larger attack if needed. Wow. We built the Venezuelan oil industry with American talent, and the socialist regime stole it from us through force. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil. Right now, they're on a ship and will ultimately be taken to New York. After that, a decision will be made, presumably between New York and Miami or Florida. And then a reporter asked, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect relationships with them? And then Trump responded, China and Russia when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we are in the oil business. We will be selling oil. Wow, this is crazy. We got this from Associated Press, live updates, and more details about the United States running Venezuela. Here's like a summary of the press conference. Trump says U.S. officials such as Rubio, Hegseth, and Kaine will run Venezuela. When asked during a press conference who would be running the country until a transition of power can take place, Trump said, the people that are standing right behind me are going to be running it for a period of time. The next bullet point, questions over legality. The legal authority for the attack, which echoed the 1990 U.S. invasion of Panama that led to the surrender and seizure of leader Manuel Antonio Noriega, was not immediately clear. The U.S. government does not recognize Maduro, who last appeared on state television Friday while meeting with a delegation of Chinese officials in Caracas. And then the last bullet point, Venezuela's future uncertain. By law, Vice President Delcy Rodriguez should take power, but there was no confirmation that had happened. Maduro's government accused the U.S. of a quote-unquote imperialist attack on civilian and military installations and urged citizens to take to the streets. All right. Visegrad 24. Now, beyond Venezuela, I'm starting to wonder if there could be actions taken against other Latin American countries because a few of them came up. Trump on Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. Quote, she's a good woman, but the cartels are running Mexico. She's not running Mexico. Something's going to have to be done with Mexico. I mean, I doubt that there would be any military action, but, we're living in crazy times and we're seeing things that we've never seen before. I never thought that I would see this, what we're talking about today. War intel, U.S. President Trump, quote, the people of Cuba have suffered for many years and it's a badly failing nation that we'll likely be talking about. Marco Rubio said, Cuba is a disaster. It is run by incompetent, senile men. It has no economy. It is in total collapse. And then lastly, so we had Mexico, Cuba, and then this one's about Colombia. Watch as reporters ask Donald Trump about comments he made weeks earlier when he said Colombian President Gustavo Petro better watch, I'm going to paraphrase here, he better watch himself, noting that Petro has since said he isn't concerned. President Donald Trump responded by saying, I stick by my statement. He does need to watch himself. So, here's the update in case you haven't heard yet. This is how the year is starting out. It's pretty dramatic, and I feel like it's a sign of the times. I categorize this under wars and rumors of wars, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen next. Is the United States going to have more trouble with Venezuela? Are they going to face resistance, or is it effectively going to cave in to U.S. power and authority and the plans that the Trump administration has for the country? It's going to be really interesting. And how is this going to affect other countries throughout the Americas? Are we going to see things happen to Colombia with that president? Does the Trump administration have concrete plans when it comes to Cuba and Mexico? Things that might shock us? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But that's going to be it for this one. I'll talk to you guys later.